never wore these when I was at Brentwood. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. When I read the bio of our next recipient, I noticed that his graduating year from Brentwood was 1971. I was 1 year old. Which, if I recall, my knowledge of Brentwood history was the last year that Brentwood was an all-boys school. On the last occasion when I spoke to a group of alumni on this campus was 10 years ago at my 20-year reunion, and I spontaneously went up to the mic to share some stories when John Allpress interrupted me and said to please mention my family history about Brentwood. So my grandfather, Forrest Rogers, attended Brentwood, as did my uncle, my brother, and 3 cousins, all male. And so far, I'm the only female in my family who has attended Brentwood. And currently, my nephew is in grade 10 here, a 4th generation Brentonian. And hopefully his younger sister, Kate, will come here one day so that she can join my group of female Brentonians in my family. The look of the campus keeps changing, which is fantastic, and of course progress is a good thing. For returning alumni, especially us older ones, it's nice to see some original buildings remain. My mother has always expressed to Bill Ross and John Allpress to try to at least keep Alex's house, so that there is something recognizable to returning alumni. My grandmother, my mother, and my sister all attended York House School in Vancouver. See a pattern here? All women. So my mother doesn't feel much of a strong connection when she visits the school at Granville and King Edward. There are no original buildings from her day. There's no remaining staff members. Just the laurel hedge along Granville Street is the only remaining thing that was there when she was a student. So days like today, to come back to campus and to recognize extraordinary alumni, and seeing Alex's house, still my house, still standing, keeps us connected as alumni, and we still feel part of the Brentwood family. I look forward to returning again at the end of June for my 30th reunion. So today I'm delighted to be here to present this award to one of our school's most commendable, most accomplished old Brentonians, David Wilkinson. Growing up on a nearby dairy farm, David completed 5 formative years at Brentwood College as a day student. Following Brentwood, David spent a year backpacking in Europe, followed by graduation from the University of British Columbia in chemical engineering. During this time, David was a varsity rower at university, and he represented Canada on the Canadian national rowing team until 1980. After a 3-year industrial stint as a research battery engineer, David completed a PhD in chemistry at the University of Ottawa under the supervision of the preeminent electrochemist Brian Conway. He returned to Vancouver in 1986 to take up the position of division leader in battery chemistry for the company Moly Energy, where he was a key member of the team that developed the world's first commercial rechargeable lithium battery. A few years later, David joined the nascent company Ballard Power Systems, where he was responsible for the core technology and research. As a researcher, director, and vice president, he played a major role in establishing Ballard and Canada as a world leader in the research, development, and application of fuel cell technology. In 2004, David joined the Department of Chemical and Biological Engineering at UBC as a Tier 1 Canada Research Chair, with a focus on energy, conversion, and storage, and providing advanced sustainable solutions for energy and water use. Since joining the university, David has held a number of leadership positions, including Executive Director of the UBC Clean Energy Research Centre, Principal Research Officer and Senior Advisor with the National Research Council of Canada at their Vancouver Institute, and Board Member of the Canadian Hydrogen and Fuel Cells Association and the Pacific Institute for Climate Solutions. Recently, David co-founded the company Mangrove Water Technologies, a spin-off company from his research program at UBC. David has over 80 issued patents, over 185 peer-reviewed publications, and a number of book chapters and edited books. He has received a number of awards for his work and is a fellow of the Engineering Institute of Canada, the Canadian Academy of Engineering, the Chemical Institute of Canada, and the Royal Society of Canada. Please join me in congratulating David Wilkinson, class of 1971.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks. Well, it's great to be back here at Brentwood College. Such a wonderful place to come back to. First of all, Jessica, I'd like to thank you for those words, and thank you to the school for this award. I'm very humbled to receive this award, especially knowing how many amazing people are part of the Brentwood College family. Was it Winston Churchill, perhaps, who had said, the further back you look, the farther forward you can look? Well, I was very surprised when I received your call, but telling me that I was the recipient of the Lifelong Achievement Award. And it made me think about Brentwood College differently. Yes, I mean, I've been here many times for different events. I've been here as a competitive rower, as a parent of children that all rowed in the Brentwood College Regatta. In fact, my wife, Susan, who's a national umpire, has umpired here at the regatta for many, many years. However, this time it seemed different, and this made me reflect on where I had come from. Because you can't always connect the dots looking into the future, but you can definitely connect them looking backward. I was fortunate enough to be brought up on a nearby dairy farm, as you heard, in Cobble Hill, where I learned the value of hard work, perseverance, and an appreciation of nature and how things work. My parents believed in a good education, and hence I left a small community school in grade 6 and ended up here at Brentwood, which I know at the time was a financial strain for my family. But they believed in education. Brentwood opened my mind, although I didn't realize it at the time, because it was gradual, it was evolutionary. Teachers, many who are here today, like John Queen, Tony Carr, Bill Ross, Nick Prouse, Ivor Ford, Robert Orr, and many others had a profound influence and fed an inquiring mind. When I graduated from Brentwood, my father asked if I was interested in farming, but I think he knew the answer in advance. I had discovered new paths that I wanted to explore. And so the years have gone by, the last almost 40 to 45 years or more since leaving Brentwood College have seen unprecedented change and growth. Who uses a slide rule or a typewriter anymore? I'm sorry, I'm dating myself, but we're talking a new lexicon. We're talking about artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, as you heard the last speech was alluding to, synthetic biology, robotics, nanomaterials, social engineering, and the built environment. They're all part of our common lexicon today. Who could have imagined? Our planet's population, resource demand, and anthropogenic activities are tipping this delicate balance of nature and the world. We are now moving, or are in, what many call the third industrial revolution, and we heard reference to the fourth industrial revolution, and some jurisdictions were actually moving into that, brought on by the Internet of Communication, renewable energy, and electrified mobility. Very key areas. So business as usual is simply no longer acceptable. I think the expression that we're probably mostly familiar with, that the Stone Age didn't end because we ran out of rocks, is probably appropriate for many jurisdictions, including Canada. The Stone Age ended because disruptive technologies ushered in the Bronze Age. Leading disruptive technologies today can meet economic, social, and environmental requirements. Energy and water and their relationship to the environment, sustainability, and world stability are some of the greatest challenges we face in this century. I have been blessed that my career path, starting at Brentwood, has led me to a point where I can work on finding solutions to such globally pressing issues. This involves not only fundamental science, but the practical implementation of knowledge and innovation. I've had the privilege to work with some of the best scientists, engineers, innovators, and thought leaders in the world. And what I've learned is that one does not need celebrity status to have an enormous impact on the world. I'm not sure where the future dots will lead me, but I feel writing is somewhere in there. And perhaps Gil Bunch will finally forgive me for not having taken English literature when my course schedule was too full. What I do know is that I will always be able to connect the dots back to Brentwood College. I would like to thank the school from my heart, my wife Susan and family, many that are here, my sister and her husband, my oldest son Jerome, my daughter Lauren, I think, is somewhere around. She may be out on the water. And my parents, of course, and because without any of these, I would not be standing here. So I thank you very much, and I thank the school for this honor.
Thanks very much.